Hello, my name is Madison Paget, and today we are going to be talking about the reality of Alzheimer's care, particularly the similarities and differences between the primary caregiver and a paid part-time caregiver. Alzheimer's disease is a neurocognitive disorder defined as a progressive decrease in mental function. Symptoms include long and short-term memory loss, the loss of motor skills such as eating and walking, limited vocabulary and the eventual loss of speech, difficulty living independently, extreme confusion often including the patient's location and identity, and the increased agitation along with behavioral changes. Primary caregivers are often relatives to the patient. They are responsible for the patient's overall care plan. This includes daily care, which is either done by the primary caregiver or a paid part-time caregiver. The primary caregiver has legal and financial responsibility of the patient once he/she is no longer capable of making decisions. Since Alzheimer's disease does not have a cure, all cases result in death. The primary caregiver is responsible for the end-of-life preparations, such as funeral arrangements and the distribution of assets. Melissa Pearl is the primary caregiver of her mother, Pat, who has middle-stage Alzheimer's disease. I was able to interview her regarding her mother's care. My first question was, how has caring for your mother affected you? She indicated that it has caused stress in her marriage and with her two children. She also said that she is emotionally and financially overwhelmed. Second, I asked her, do you feel as though caring for your mother is a burden? She responded by saying it was both a burden and a blessing. A burden because it is sometimes difficult, but a blessing because she is capable of helping her. She also said that she feels bad for her siblings who are not involved in her mother's care, but she did mention that it is hard to watch her mother's health decline. Finally, I asked her, do you find yourself wanting additional help? Her response was, of course, yes. She has paid a part-time caregiver to check on her mother during the day, but she says that it is hard to find affordable in-home care. In North Carolina, the average hourly wage of a personal in-home caregiver is $14.65 an hour. Responsibilities vary depending on the patient and stage of the disease, but often include feeding, which entails food preparation and often spoon feeding if the patient is unable to feed themselves. A paid caregiver may sometimes do light housework like laundry and dishes if the patient is still living alone. Often paid part-time caregivers transport the patient to doctor's appointments and bring them shopping for groceries. But the most important part of caregiving is companionship, which is a vital part of caregiving. The relationship between the patient and the caregiver is important because with a relationship comes trust. Pat is pictured here on the left. My grandmother is there on the right. Pat lives independently in the same neighborhood as myself and her daughter Melissa. Each day, Melissa visits her in the morning and I check on her in the afternoon. I make sure that Pat eats lunch and she has access to the TV as she is unable to turn it on and off by herself. But I also act as a companion for her. She loves to tell me stories and drink coffee. Pat is a kind and joyful woman whom I am honored to care for. Together, Melissa Pearl and I are caring for Pat. Although Melissa is the primary caregiver and undoubtedly has more responsibilities, I, among other part-time caregivers, provide services to relieve the primary caregiver. Each patient is different, so their team of caregivers varies, but everyone has the same goal, to provide the very best care.